Hey guys. Hello, hello, hello. Oh. Hey. What a day. Hey guys. I'm gonna close this door because I can already see what's gonna happen. Jeez, it's filling up fast, so that's good. Hopefully that means that people got notifications. Please tell me this is a Britney chat. This is a Britney chat. I look pretty and glowy because I just did my makeup. I don't want anybody to think that I look like this at the end of a work day. Also, I have a filter on, so I always try to be as real as possible. I also forgot my coffee. Oh, okay. What an emotional day. I can't believe they shut the recording off. Somebody tagged or told me about a different account in one of the comments that shared a screen that recorded Britney talking twice, and then shared that, and not a good idea. I appreciate it. Do we know when the judge will make a ruling? I do not. It does not sound, this judge is different than the judge that's been on the case for a while. This judge, I don't know how long it takes her. They have a 20-minute video on YouTube of her talking. That's just such a bad, it's against the law. It's literally against the law. And what sucks about that too is that by somebody else doing that, it restricts the access for the media. It restricts the access for everybody else. What happened to the previous judge, I don't know. I'm going to be really upfront with you guys on anything I don't know, anything that I need to look up. I'll let you guys know. I'm not going to pretend like I have all of the answers on everything, but I do want to start a conversation about this. For those of you who are new here or who don't know much about me, I'm an attorney in the state of California. I've been practicing for over a decade. I talked about legal stuff on my Bluetooth. Sorry about that. Hey, Shiel, hey. Does this judge seem to lean one way or the other? I would be able to give you a better, more accurate view of that if I was able to listen to more of what she said. I was able to sign in and listen to a portion when the judge was admonishing the parties about the leaked, somebody else said sounds like the New York Times article that came out yesterday that had confidential information. She was admonishing the parties and was not happy. If there's confidential information, the judge isn't going to be happy if that gets out. So the audio was leaked. The audio was recorded, illegally recorded, and now it's been broadcast. Do I think they will terminate it? In my honest opinion, do you think her just wanting it to be terminated will be enough? I don't know. I think that there is enough. I don't know that that's the whole picture, because we don't know what's been filed. I don't know what Jamie said through his attorney. He did immediately. So Britney spoke, court took a recess, and then came back for Jamie Spears' attorney's rebuttal, discussion, his statement. And in that recess, they must have had a preset statement that was ready. They knew what was coming. And so they released a statement that was like, oh, Jamie's so sad that all of this is happening and he misses his daughter very much, which, bizarre that you can miss your daughter that you have that much control over. The conservatorship is horrible. Heard some of what she testified. So one comment that I wanted to address, geez, you guys, there's 253 people here. I think she needs new counsel. Didn't the conservators pick her attorney? Right. So that's a comment that I wanted to address. The light's really heavy. Jamie is her sister. Jamie is also her father. Right? Am I getting that wrong? I think they'll make her go through a series of evaluations. They may. Jamie, yeah, they're her father, her sister, they have the same name. Okay. Okay, so the comment that sometimes I get trailed off because I'm reading comments. So the comment that I saw multiple times in the videos that I posted yesterday was, if you saw her Instagram, you could see that she clearly has mental health issues. And I'm paraphrasing what multiple people said. Talking about Britney Spears. If you saw her Instagram, you'd see that she has mental health issues and that this conservatorship is necessary. I want to kind of break down the assumptions that are in those statements and maybe some fallacies that that's based on. And then I'll go into the specific discussion of what was said. Can I recap what happened? Yeah. So what we know is that her entire life is under the control of this conservatorship. Theoretically, you could have a conservatorship, but still have the ability to do your own thing, because while the conservator has control, they can pass along to you the ability to do whatever, to the extent that they choose to. It's clear at this point, right? Yeah, truffle fart. Yes, I agree with you. It's clear at this point that they asserted that control over any and everything that they could, including what looks like her Instagram, in order to make her look a certain way. She testified today that she is on a very heavy drug, lithium, that makes her feel drunk, that she's been taking medication from the same person for 8 years. The level of control that was asserted against her is astounding. Her father should have been working to get her better, which means independent. Agreed. When I see her IG, I wonder if they alter, edit the videos. We don't know. It's not put out there to make her look good. And now we know that they told her, tell people you're okay. Tell people you're good. So now she's feeling like she's going to gaslight people by coming out and saying, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. But I just told them I was okay. It's so sad. She's just been a dollar sign since she was a child. What we saw posted was manipulated to make sure we think she needs a conservator. Absolutely. What do you think is the likelihood of her gaining independence? I think that it is as high as it's ever been. An attorney in New York and you're gobsmacked. Yeah, when cases like this with such notoriety, I'm sure you feel the same way, get traction in the media like this, and then people look at the court system and go, what the happened? How did you guys break this bad? With such an icon, I mean, no one, Britney, me, you on the other side of this screen, none of us deserve to have the kind of autonomy that she's had taken away from her, removed from our lives. No one. Can she sue her family? There are levels of fiduciary duties that you have as the conservator, the court can make you post a bond. I'm sure that they did in this case. I'm not positive though. Because especially with a level of money. So theoretically, yeah, she could file a claim against her dad or whoever if they weren't acting in her best interests. But the standard on that would be high. It would be hard to prove. This has happened because she's a whole... Isn't a conservatorship for people with dementia or Alzheimer's? Good question. It's for people who are unable to handle their own personal affairs. So a lot of people said, well, she's mentally ill. There's a lot of mentally ill people in the United States. I promise you, all of them don't need conservators. Most of them don't need conservators. Small fraction need conservators. And I would argue in this case, and this is my opinion only, though I would argue it's supported by the information that I've seen, the money is the driving factor here. It is not the well-being of Britney Spears as a person, except for the fact that her well-being as a person drives her income potential. It's a bit weird to me that she has capacity to work, but the conservatorship is that controlling. In other words, how can you both, and we've talked about this, how can you both be able to function at such a high level that you're able to have, what is it, like 3 Vegas residencies, 4 albums, all of that. But also, like, you can't make your own decisions on the IUD, right? We get to medicate you. We get to tell you that you have to work with 104-degree fever. How are we hearing the audio? People got into the hearing, and I watched a live feed on Twitter showing the showing what she said. Luckily, I saved it and I didn't refresh it because this person privated their Twitter. She's heavily over-medicated, right? So, but that's not her fault. So, I mean, if everybody around her has the ability to continue to make her feel crazy and has the ability to continue a public perception of her mental illness, and they have access to all of her money, I mean, this is where we are. Play the audio. I'm not going to play the audio. If you guys want to listen to the audio, you guys can go listen to the audio. I am not going to broadcast. I'm an officer of the court, and so I have to follow those rules. Sorry, but I will read you guys what is on this Twitter feed. I'm afraid for her now that the money train is coming to an end. Do you think she has a good chance of getting her life back? I hope so. I couldn't imagine being that age. And I am her age. I'm a couple years younger, but I couldn't imagine being in the position that I am right now, able to maintain a job to that extent, able to perform to that extent, but somebody telling me you can't have a family with the person that you love. I mean, this is a kind of control, and I don't know another way to say this other than it's slavery. I don't know, sorry if that's uncouth, I just don't. It's somebody who is working against their will for the benefit of other people. How can they force her to take these medications? Can't she refuse? Doesn't sound like it. The first actual interesting and intellectual conversation I've ever seen on a TikTok live. I think that's a compliment. Thanks. I do not know her personally, no. The over-medicating explains the weird videos during, sorry, it's going fast, COVID lockdown. But also, we now know that I think she has very little control over her public perception. Other people have that control. I truly hope if bad intent was involved, they go to jail. Fair. Thank you. What was the outcome of today? I did not hear the final, but I assume it's taken under submission. Most court hearings like this are. The only caveat I have to that is there was at some point, the judge directed Britney's attorney, who she does not like, it doesn't sound like, on how to file a petition to end the conservatorship. The attorney likely knows how to do that. The attorney's response was something like, let me pull it up. Apologies. I'm very scared to like do something that will make this page go away. Because it went privated, like I said. It may not be on here. Judge Penny is telling the attorney how to terminate the conservatorship. The attorney says, I am concerned about several issues my client has raised here. Concerned since today? Because it sounds like this hearing was set in April at the request. I want to take screenshots of the page, but it's on my, I should print it to Adobe. Try. Print the Twitter page. I'm trying. Then the attorney went on to say, I'm happy to take some guidance from the court on how to set up replacing me. I serve at the pleasure of the court, and if the court decides I should be replaced, then I'm fine with that. I am on a Mac. I am on a Mac. She only gets to see her kids when her dad says it's okay. It's shift. I like that there's 600 people here and you're like, hey, here's technology 101. Just make sure there's nothing confidential up on my screen. Okay. Will you tell me how to do that again? They better replace lawyer. Shift Command 3. Thank you. Nice. Don't go away. Don't go away. I have to Google screenshot every time. Thanks, guys. So let me screenshot this so that I can read it all to you. Why is it? I feel like it's so hard to do. Oh, you can scroll and do it multiple times. That's great. If this is any of your first time with me, I'm sure that I am just really blowing your mind at my abilities. The sex trafficking part was really sad. The fact that she feels that's just, okay. Her dad gets to decide when she's, okay, isolating. Sorry, guys, I'm sorry. I don't understand what warranted the conservatorship in the first place. She had multiple mental hospital stays, and it sounds like at some point in time, she may have needed a temporary conservatorship. What I am not clear on is how the temporary shifted to a permanent, and then just 13 years later. 13 years later, like that's, okay, so let me go through. So it starts off, the attorneys enter their appearances. That's general. So I'm just going to go like chronologically what happened today through, and I'm full credit to Britney Law Army, who has since, I think, privated their Twitter for some reason. But I'm reading and we'll talk and discuss as it comes. I know there's leaked audio on YouTube. I truly am, though people have questioned it, a lawyer in the state of California, which means I'm an officer of the court. And while I didn't record the audio and technically didn't break the law, I'm not going to broadcast recorded audio that was breaking the law. So I'll just read from this Twitter feed. The whole thing seems wildly disproportionate. I don't disagree. I thought that this was a sweet moment. At one point she said, I just got a new phone, bear with me, I have a lot to say. So my question then is, who got her the phone? And I know that this is small in comparison to the things that were discussed, but did her boyfriend get her a new phone and like she's typed all of this out because she wants it to be out of the access of the people that are within her conservatorship? Was she there live? She was on, I think she was on a broadcast into the courtroom on a screen. So I thought that was interesting. It was just like one of those little snippets that you could like take. Oh, I wonder if that was like a little insight into how all of this is like, hey guys, I just got a new phone and I'm still trying to figure out how to work it. Britney Spears is free to discuss, and this is Ingham. It's an open-ended hearing. Britney Spears is free to discuss any aspect of the conservatorship that she likes. These are her words. I will in no way try to stop her when she speaks and ask the same of the other attorneys. The judge then said, I agree. No one is to interrupt Britney Spears in any way. We'll get to the IUD part. Yeah. I'm going to do this in chronological order. Britney Spears just interrupted Jamie's attorney, so her dad's attorney, to say, this is my life. I want the public to hear me. So then she starts speaking. The people who did this to me should not be able to get away and walk away easily. It sounds like, and there's a couple of jokes in here, usually when you're within a courtroom, well, every time that you're in a hearing like this, you've got a court reporter transcribing everything. Can you save this video and put it on YouTube or Instagram? I will put it on my YouTube. How's that? There's a court reporter there and they're taking notes. They're literally transcribing everything. And there was a couple people who made jokes like, the court reporter is probably telling her to slow down, which happens a lot because people get very conversational. If we were to talk like this in a courtroom, a court reporter would be just like doing her best or his best to keep up. So people are usually reminded to slow down. So she was speaking, the point of that is she's speaking very fast. She goes into her choreography. I don't know the context of the choreography discussion. What this Twitter feed says is, I taught my dancers my choreography myself, which shows the level of, likely what I think she's trying to portray here is, now I'm getting text. I am so with it mentally that I was able during this time that you're telling me I'm not able to choose how my body operates, choose the medication I'm on, choose where I live, the color of my kitchen cabinets. And I can't do any of that, but I can choreograph a routine for a residency in Las Vegas and teach it to people. Okay. That's a hard argument to make. Her ability to function, this was her point, it's insane. Yeah, especially if she's doing that while they're giving her lithium. I mean, it's pointing in the direction, if everything that she said is true, which we're taking this at face value, it's like, there's just no reason. She's competent, right? She goes on to say, ma'am, I'm not here to be a slave. I can say no to a dance move. Again, I don't know the context, but Agreed. If you're able to teach a whole choreographed routine, agreed. We don't know what the lithium's for. I don't know. And we'll get into that. And the whole part about her saying, I'm not here to be a slave. Can you imagine for 13 years, after you have had such a run, you were one of the, if not the biggest pop star for a period of time. You made quite a bit of money. You continued to go on to make music and albums and have residencies in Las Vegas. And then once you hit like the peak of that, and people are hounding you, which is why the whole mental illness thing really, it bothers me on a deeper level. It's just, you're gaslighting somebody, in my opinion. This is me. This isn't my attorney part speaking. This is me as a human speaking. You're gaslighting somebody and saying like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. It's like you're going to force them into being what you've told them they are at some point. That short, I know plenty of people who have mental illness, and people are commenting constantly, bipolar disorder, all of these things, and I'm able to function in life. It is not the mental illness that caused this, in my opinion, to start. It's the money. Because her being mentally ill alone, without having somebody to be able to pay a conservator, doesn't start this engine. Her dad just wanted control over her, but mostly our money. Yeah. And the slave comment is just, it's so, she truly is just working to pay other people. When you think of the fact that when you're in a conservatorship, nobody works in these things without getting paid, which means the conservator is getting paid. The conservator has an attorney that's getting paid, similar to trusts. You know, you've got a trust, the trust attorney is being paid. Everybody that's associated with this. I read somewhere today that her mom has an attorney, and her mom's attorney is getting paid. I mean, it's just the web that this has woven, and people who are now on payroll that would have never been on payroll had none of this started. I'm really tired of people perpetuating that mental health means you can't function in any facet. Agreed. It's not true. We know it's not true. How many of us had severe issues in the past year with everything that we've gone through? I mean, again, if we had every person who has suffered any mental illness at all on a conservatorship, our courts would be backlogged for years. It doesn't work like that. My manager called into my therapist and said I was not following the guidelines of rehearsals. So that's the context for the choreography. Which means that she's got, here's how I picture this in my head. And I may be wrong, but this is just the general idea of what I'm getting. She's got people around her she has handlers, but the handlers are not being paid. Well, they are being paid by her, but they're being paid by the people who control her. It feels very movie-like. It feels very like Get Out Britney Spears edition. Like, it feels, I'm sure that her boyfriend provides her some sense of solace in herself, because he seems to be the only person that we see around her that is not being paid by somebody else. She's legally kidnapped. Great characterization. I saw something I wanted to see. They are appointed by the people who control her to do what they want. Yes. I haven't seen I Care, but I will watch it. This is beyond crazy, and people need to be in jail for doing this. I'm reading comments. These aren't my specific opinions. How does she get a new attorney if the conservator appointed this one? Sounds like the court may be appointing a new attorney, but we don't know. Just join What's the Update. Britney Spears spoke today, and we're going through what she said. to the extent I have access to it. Can she get a lawyer of her choosing? Interesting question. I'm not sure. And I told you guys at the outset, I'm going to tell you when I don't know something, because I think pretending like I know everything is probably a dangerous thing to do. And no one knows everything. I'm not sure how that would work with the situation, how the proceedings would go, because truly in this situation, the conservator has control over her. Why couldn't her mom stop this? I'm mad Twitter put the audio up. Yeah. Thank you guys for sending me stuff. I have no idea what any of it means. So the argument they have used is that she is not competent enough to obtain her own attorney. Well, the argument is she's not competent enough to live her life at all. So somebody else needs control. And so you get into this situation where it's like, okay, but the person who has control then has control over the people who are supposed to be helping her not have him have control over her. I mean, it's such it's a tangled web. And so this was the only way that she was going to be able to get her part out. Her entire family is shady, period. She's the breadwinner and they want to live off of her. I don't necessarily disagree from what I'm seeing here. Didn't she try to have her mom take control? I'm not sure. TMZ has a good breakdown. Okay, I'll look it up in a second. Nobody has her best interests. How is this happening in America in 2020? Before I get back to this, I do think that my opinion, there's a level of misogyny that is ingrained in this that I do not think a father would have sought. I mean, there are people brought up Charlie Sheen. Who had a conservatorship over Charlie Sheen? Anybody? He acted extremely irrationally. Kanye West, great example. Kanye West did some very extreme things. I didn't see Kim Kardashian stepping up and going, I think that we're going to, it didn't happen. And to the extent people have tried to do that, it's not granted. And so you've got situations where I've tried or I choose not to because it's a man, and a woman gets put in this for 13 years and is making a bunch of other men wealthy. In my opinion, and that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Yeah. If they have, okay. Will she speak in court again? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to keep going on this. The same lady has been giving me my medication for 8 years. I was out on lithium. They took me off my same drugs for 5 years and put me on lithium. It's a strong drug. It was like I was drunk. So you've got somebody who was on medication. It sounds like she says they took me off my same drugs for 5 years. So I don't know what the same drugs were. I don't know if that was for the mental illness that she had prior, that she had psychiatric stays for. We don't know. I don't have context for that. But they did put her on a drug that she feels like made her less capable, right? Drunk. It felt like I was drunk. I don't know what lithium's used for. Talking about Britney Spears. Somebody said something about her sister. I saw a thread on Twitter that was like not happy with her. You can only take Twitter so far. Lithium is a mood stabilizer. Interesting. Antidepressant med can ruin your brain chemistry. I don't know that, real quick, somebody said, when will the judge rule? And I should make this clear. I don't know that there's a pending motion. I don't think that there is. I'm not aware of a pending motion. Britney asked to speak to the court. It sounds like either the court it sounds like either there's going to be a motion to withdraw and appoint a new attorney, potentially, or potentially a motion to end the conservatorship. But I don't think either of those things is pending currently. Yes, I will continue reading, but I am going to give context on the way. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere for a month. This is called sex trafficking, is what she says. I don't know the context behind that, and I don't really want to give conjecture. Can she get a different judge? This is a different judge than she's had previously. And I will say the portion that I heard while I was in the call, this judge sounded, judge sounded competent. I don't know. After I told and lied to the world that I'm happy, it's a lie. Oh, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere for a month. This may be tied to that. After I told and lied to the world that I'm happy, it's a lie. So if you remember when the Free Britney movement really picked up traction last year, I think, Britney Spears came out and was like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Like, everything will be okay. Everything will be fine. Understandably, she goes on later to say, like, I was worried no one would believe me because I just came out. You guys were all saying I'm worried for you. I came out and said I'm fine. So how am I going to then come out and say I'm not okay? Then it's going to feed into the narrative that I'm crazy, which is what they're saying about me already. Kidnapping in plain sight. She said she wished she could stay on the call forever. I heard that. That breaks my heart. As a mom, I'm listening to this as a woman with a career, as a mom, as somebody who's suffered in the past with mental health. Like, I couldn't imagine, it is unfathomable that somebody would take somebody else's rights like that, especially somebody, I couldn't imagine doing that to my own child. She did say in that too, she's depressed, she cries every day, she can't sleep. I saw that, I heard that quote, and that gives you an idea of she is not living a life, not only that she wants to lead, but that any of us should lead. She needed help at one time, but they kept it too long. Yeah, and needing mental health assistance is different than needing somebody to capture. It's like being in the right moment in the right time, except like don't use the words right. To be able to capture the wealth and she has a money-making machine. She is a money-making machine. So somebody just took it. Like, oh, you're down? Perfect. Let me go ahead and walk in and take that. Because now I can pay myself and control you. Where can I find what you're talking about? Is it a documentary? I think the New York Times has a documentary called Free Britney. There's a couple documentaries. There's a lot of information about it right now out. I don't know about the custody of her kids. I don't know. She said, quoted, they should be in jail. So it is her current net worth is $60 million. She does not have custody of her kids. Framing Britney on Hulu. Thank you very much. So if we're taking, again, what she's saying at face value, they should be in jail. So she thinks that they did something wrong to such an extent that they breached the fiduciary duty. Theoretically, if she's able to, if she understands what all of this means, which I don't necessarily think that she does, but that means that it's a big claim. I just finished the Betty Broderick Dirty John series. Is her attorney elected by the conservatorship? I believe he was appointed by the conservatorship. She goes on to say, I don't even drink alcohol. Again, I'm not quite sure the context. I don't even drink alcohol. I should drink alcohol for what they've done to my heart. It's just like heartbreaking. I'm so upset at the world for her. She needs to be free. There is no verdict. Ma'am, I did not know. This is the killer part. I did not know I could petition to end the conservatorship. No one told me, which means that if, again, assuming all of this is true, this means that her attorney isn't even accurately advising her of what her options are. She goes on to say that if she spoke out, she didn't think anybody would believe her. I thought people would laugh at me and make jokes about me. It is my wish and dream for all of this to end. I want my life back. I would honestly like to be able to sue my family. So somebody asked, is there not a requirement of a mental health evaluation each year? Seems that would be helpful. So I did the legal research this morning on this, and it looks like what happens is, one, the temporary conservatorship somehow morphed into a permanent. Then after 6 months, it gets reviewed. And then after a year, it gets reviewed. And then every 2 years, the court can send like an auditor in, an investigator in, to go look at the conservatee, check her out, see if everything's okay. But I don't think the mental health eval continues. I don't think that gets renewed every time. And so maybe that's, if we're looking at this at how we can reform the system moving forward so this doesn't happen to somebody else, maybe that's where we need to reform it. I think next steps will be getting a new attorney and petitioning to end the conservatorship. I do not believe that there's a motion before the court currently. She said she wants to sue her family, yes. And the interesting part about that is family, like the whole thing, because it would be notable to me, who does she think she has on her side? Is it nobody? Is it not her mom, not her dad, not her sister? No one is advising her on her rights. Yeah. How she was even able to get a boyfriend is interesting. If there's no motion, what's the point of this? She wanted to speak to the court. So now that she's spoken to the court and she's been advised by the court, her attorney's been advised by the court on how to end a conservatorship. He wouldn't have gotten appointed if he didn't know how to do that. Now she knows in front of her attorney, and her attorney knows that she knows that there can be an end to this. So I understand that this feels somewhat anticlimactic if there is no motion pending before the court. I'm not aware of when. I will look again after I get off. But I believe that would be forthcoming. Some people speculate that her boyfriend was hired as well. Interesting. Yeah, her boyfriend said he and Britney's dad are on bad terms. Okay. My attorney said, I can't let the public know anything about what has been done to me. So she says, originally, I'm told to tell people that I'm fine, but I'm not. And I wanted to tell people that I'm not, but I was worried that they thought I was going to be lying. And then my attorney told me I can't say anything about how this is going, which is interesting because then how? So that also, you have to kind of read between the lines on some of this stuff. So that means the attorney knew then that something wasn't right, because she's telling him, I'm not okay. There are things that have been done to me. And the attorney is then telling her, okay, but you can't tell the public. And also, in what way? It sounds like everybody has control over her social media anyway. So how would she tell the public? Would she do it through call the president. Would she do it through her boyfriend? I'm confused on what that would be. But it's disheartening to me, and I don't know all of the circumstances. But it hurts me that there's a client out there with an attorney who feels like she can't get her message across and that she's not being protected. How is the court okay that she has to pay for both sides of her case? It happens more often than you realize. It's not fair that they are telling lies about me openly, even my family. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what lies they're talking about. She pays her ex $100,000 a month now. Isn't that weird? It seems pretty high. Why aren't any female attorneys stepping up to defend her? Well, I would argue that I'm talking to you right now, and that's somewhat of I am a female attorney, but if you have a central, I hate to go all like feminist movement on you guys, but if there is a man who is controlling this and he sees that maybe there would be more sympathy given by a female attorney that would represent her, maybe he doesn't hire a female attorney. It's not, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just like, it's right in front of us. I can tell you why. I haven't had the opportunity, she says this, I haven't had the opportunity to handpick my own attorney myself. So she has no say on who she even hires. We've already talked about that. Was her attorney court appointed? I think it was, I'm fairly certain, I can confirm, but I'm fairly certain that the court has to okay the attorney. But I think it's actually chosen by the conservatorship. I think Kim K should help Britney find new lawyers. This is bananas. How is this all legal? I get it. It feels wrong on a lot of different levels. And I think that we're seeing a very egregious circumstance of a situation that we all need to be aware of and try to fix. Britney aside, help Britney. And now let's make sure that this doesn't happen again. Yeah. I don't know who Jody is. But she says, I'm talking to you today because yes, even Jody is starting to take it too far. The person who's tweeting this says, Britney is speaking way too fast. I don't think this is humanly possible. I truly believe this conservatorship, she says this, I truly believe this conservatorship is abusive. There are thousands of abusive conservatorships. Jody's a family friend. The other conservator, okay. How can any judge look at how much work she's done during this time and uphold the conservatorship? Good question. The burden is on Britney to show that it needs to stop. Conservatorships end. My legal research software this morning, I had to reread it a couple times. But it's not meant for situations like this. It's just not. In my opinion, it's not. Conservatorships end when people die. Or if the conservatee, which think about this, or if the conservatee petitions the court and says, no, I'm good now, which if you've got full control like the conservatorship is asserted in this situation, how would they know what their rights are? The access that they have. It is sad. What drove her family and team to do this, to have so much abusive control? Why? For money? Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure. Again, you take Britney out of the multi-million-dollar machine that she is. If it's just Britney Spears alone, who in her family is going to... And she truly, let's pretend for sake of the argument that she truly has such bad mental health that she needs somebody to step up. No idea what's going on the other side of that door, but I'm fairly certain my 9-year-old is having a very big party. And it's just her and I. So if you take Britney Spears without all of her mental health, with all of her mental health issues, without all of the money, I don't think that you have the desire on the part of the people who are moving right now, her dad, whoever else, to hover over her and control her life to the extent that they are right now. It would be an unpaid position if the money's not there. So, and that's why I think, generally speaking, you're not seeing a lot of conservatorships across the United States. There may be some, but generally speaking, people aren't going to step into that role and say, I assume all of the duties, care, responsibilities that go along with this, but I don't need to be paid. If somebody doesn't have the money to do it, that means you're truly just doing it for altruistic reasons. In this situation, and I believe, I can't remember where I specifically saw it, but it was the original conservatorship was put forth because they did not think that she had the mental capacity to handle the assets that she had, and they thought that she was susceptible to being frauded. And so they wanted somebody who was able to protect her from that. Sophia! Quiet! Hopefully that helps. It is very loud. How are they allowed to drug her? They have control over all of her medical. What can we do? I don't know. Talk about it. What the public has done right now has helped a lot, I think. The fact that the Los Angeles County Court website crashed, people know that the public is interested in this case. And not just because people like Britney Spears, but because people now know, especially after she spoke today, how oppressive. You had a social justice movement over the last year. People are awake in ways that they were not before. So I am hopeful that just the public's interest in this nudges some, but the bottom line is, can Britney show, if a motion's pending, once a motion becomes pending, that she is able to, that she does not need a conservator, and the burden is on her. I don't think that that's a huge task for her to undertake. It sounds like she's going to be fine in doing that. But now it's a matter of making sure that she gets the attorney to be able to file that motion, and that they do. Trying to see if there's any questions. How can she prove competency? It sounds like she's got a therapist. She did specifically say, I want to end the conservatorship without being evaluated. I want to petition to end the conservatorship. Is it concerning that the judge cut audio even though Britney wanted it to be public? I thought about that. Theoretically it could be, but she was done speaking. And she got her point across, and she cut audio when it was time for her father's attorney may have already spoken. So it was mostly wrapped up by then. Is that legally allowed, possible for her not to be evaluated and get out of it? It depends. Anything's possible. It's a threshold. That's a strategic decision, honestly. She might want to get evaluated just so that she has more of a, I'm just trying to think strategically here, more of a chance of getting out of it, because she does have that burden. And we don't know what's in the court record. We don't know what the court says about her mental health already that allowed for this conservatorship to be placed in the first place. Why do you think she doesn't want to be reassessed? I think she probably doesn't have a lot of faith in the process. She probably thinks, screw you guys. You guys have effed me over multiple times before. What are you going to do? You're going to choose you've chosen my attorneys. You've chosen the people that are taking care of me. You've chosen my health care. You've chosen my residencies. You've had control over all of this. Now I'm supposed to trust you to find some mental health expert that's going to come evaluate me and tell you what you want to hear. That's what I would think. If I was her, everybody around me, you have paid to make sure that this system keeps going. Why would she trust anybody? I don't want to be evaluated so that you can tell me that I'm still crazy so you can continue to be paid. That's my thought. 1 second. The noise isn't stopping. Baby girl, quiet please, it's really, really loud. Sophia, quiet please, it's really, really loud. It's okay. Sorry. Okay. Can they legally force her? So let me get to that part. She said they need to be reminded that they actually work for me, which good on her. I am not able to see my friends that I made during 3 years of AA meetings. If you know anything about AA, the whole point of those types of meetings is to establish and build friendships. So if your true concern was, I want to make sure that you are stable, mentally well, able to carry on with life, why would you take away a support system that allows for her to do that? Support system, yeah, exactly. Her situation is beyond infuriating. Fight the patriarchy, ladies. Yeah. They know exactly what to do to make her look crazy. Yeah. Doesn't it seem like she's always home? Yeah. I'm going to admit, sorry, I'm trying to read these. It's going really fast. This person says, I'm an Army vet, currently in AA, and damn it, I've met amazing friends and that are trustworthy. See? I mean, it's taking away your support network that's in AA it goes, in my opinion, it goes to show an intent that is not towards mental health, but maybe towards isolation. And again, we only know what we know. So she says, quote, I have an IUD in my body right now that won't let me have a baby. And my conservators won't let me go to the doctor to take it out. The idea, somewhat ironic, because if you scroll back on my page, you'll see a video that I did a couple weeks ago. There was a doctor here on TikTok that was talking about IUDs. And the idea that somebody else is going to choose whether or not I maintain a foreign object in my body is preposterous on another level. I am married. I wouldn't give my husband that control, and I trust him implicitly. It is unreal to me. But I mean, I try to see it from both sides. Then I assume probably in their view, they don't want her to get pregnant because that means that she's not going to perform. She's not going to, she can't do a Vegas residency. She can't, all of those things end for certain if she gets pregnant. And to the extent they want to maintain control over her ability to get pregnant, they can't probably trust her to take birth control. They can't trust her boyfriend to use other kinds of protection. So once they probably got this IUD in, absolutely, I just want to keep it in there. I'm not going to give you the ability to go get it out. And I'm looking at this in that view because I feel like something just does not add up to me here. And I'm really trying to, and if somebody wants to drop, to the extent I'm able to read it, but some point that I'm missing that gives better context for her father's side of the situation, I'm happy to hear it. I'm a personal injury attorney, but I've done a lot of different kinds of things. I've been an attorney for over a decade. What if they commit her again now? She needs a lawyer not tied to that. Yeah. Do we know what happened at court? Yeah, that's what we were reading. Maybe she's not capable. Okay, I want to address this. Maybe she's not capable of taking care of a baby. Okay. Let's pretend. Don't we have a mechanism in place for that? I feel like we have ways, CPS. Also, this isn't, you don't get to put somebody into a conservatorship because they may in the future not be able to be a parent. You know what I mean? It's really important that we don't view this in a way that's like, and I saw this, so this is why I want to address it. There's a lot of people who are like, well, she was, she had real mental issues back in 2008 when this all came about, I believe. Okay, but mental issues for a short period of time do not equate to full access and control over somebody's body and life for a decade. Yeah, she does say the 104-degree fever, I think, may have been from the leaked documents yesterday. When is her next court date? I don't know. I will look. What happened at court, she spoke. And so it's my looking at this, and I will correct myself if I'm wrong in another video. I do not believe that there's a pending motion before the court. So I think probably what's happening right now is she's trying to figure out if she wants to retain the attorney that she has, figure out what that looks like. She's going to petition, I assume, likely, hopefully, to end this conservatorship. That's what she wants. So to the extent her current attorney is not able to do that for her, because he does say when she concludes her discussion, he says that I am concerned about several issues that my client has raised here. She is already a mother when they allow her to be. This is insane. I don't disagree. Why won't they let her be independent? Because right now they're getting paid. In my opinion, that's probably what the driving factor is. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of empathy here. And I say that based on a number of factors, but the fact that her father released a statement immediately to the public, immediately after she finished her testimony to the court today, her talking to the court, it feels more calculated. The fact that he said he misses her, but he's her conservator and has access and control over her, feels calculated. Money rules all. Could a lawyer take her case on pro bono? I mean, yeah. Sure. Attorneys get to choose whether or not they want to get paid. Yeah, I'm not entirely understanding the Miley Cyrus stuff either. I can look. Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, I'm speaking, somebody said to hear this from an actual lawyer, how sick this is. I'm speaking to you based on what we know. So I don't have any insider knowledge. I don't have any information behind the scenes that's like, oh, I've got it, I know the inner workings of this. We're all looking at this together. So happy birthday, Hayden. I'm trying to dissect this with you, but it's heartbreaking to me as a woman that somebody would lose in 2021 that we would allow somebody to lose autonomy over their bodies to this extent. No, I know. No,
like my dress?
You look very cute, babe. I heard about her wanting to drive in her boyfriend's car. Like, who is really stopping her? If they're forcing her to take medication, why didn't her lawyer give her the option to petition previously? He was appointed by her father. There's specific law and ethics questions around who your client is versus who pays your bill, because those can be two separate things. And so perhaps in this situation, those things got blurred, but I don't know. This shouldn't be allowed. Can she sue her parents? Theoretically, you can sue anybody for anything. It's whether or not the suit has any merit. I hope she goes after everyone. Yeah, I mean, so this specific Twitter thread said, as was once said, respect Britney's wishes. Well, she does not wish for her attorney to be her attorney any longer. I don't know if that actually came out of her mouth. It doesn't look like it did. I think that this is just the Twitter feed saying that, the person who's running this Twitter feed. Her attorney goes on to say, I will discuss with my client if she wants a petition to terminate be filed and if she wants a new attorney. How has this not happened to any other celebrity? I think that this was a perfect storm. I think you've got people who were hounding her, paparazzi and bloggers and all of that, and the public's watching. And then she just, as any of us I think would, was just like, screw you all. And her family then used that because of the amount of money that she had to say, we're concerned her mental health isn't such that she would be subject to undue influence from other people. So we need to make sure that her assets are protected. So it's just like, again, perfect storm. The public destroyed her. Yeah. Britney is being held hostage as a cash cow. I'm not seeing, the problem is, I'd love to give an alternate argument here. It's just hard for me to, because it doesn't feel like the other side has a good, it doesn't feel like this is in the best interest of her. It's a conflict, Blanca said, it's a conflict of interest for Jamie to hire everyone, including her lawyer, but he's the conservator. That's how this works. You know what I mean? But theoretically, that person is acting in your best interest. That's the whole point. I have something in my ear that... Yeah, the only other argument is that she's in imminent danger of herself. Yeah, Jamie's the sister and the dad. I know. Confusing. Amanda Bynes is also in a conservatorship. Okay, I'll look at that. Trying to read through. What was the conclusion? Well, the attorney said he's going to discuss with his client whether or not she wants to file a petition to terminate, sorry. I'm not certain that her sister said anything. I read it's hard to get out of this. Yeah, it is hard. The burden is on Britney to show that she is competent enough to end this conservatorship. It's a really sucky situation. Next steps is figuring out her attorney situation and figuring out the petition. Hopefully hopefully she finds an attorney, or somehow she is able to secure a different attorney that files immediately a petition to terminate this. I don't think she showed that. She didn't have to today. The petition's not filed. It wasn't a hearing on that. Yeah, the judge cut the audio. Somebody started recording, and so the judge cut it. Why would she want to end it without an evaluation? I covered this a minute ago, but I'll say it again. Whoops. Theoretically, who's going to appoint the evaluator? Everybody that has come into Britney's life, it seems like from her perspective, has come in at with ironically her own checkbook, but being signed by somebody else. So if everybody that walks in my life has an agenda in line with the person who's signing the checks, and the person who's signing the checks' agenda is likely, I'd like to keep receiving the checks that I'm signing. He is the conservator. He's getting paid in that role. Most do. It's a paid role. And I believe, I'm not entirely certain, but I believe that well, I know it does. The pay for the conservator is based specifically off of how large the estate is. So it's in his best interest that like she continue to make money. And if you saw, I don't know that it was granted or not, but he sought to expand the conservatorship recently into Hawaii, Louisiana, and Florida. So like, not only do we not think this should end, but I, Jamie, would like to have further powers to, I assume, buy property in other states. You know what I mean? It just, body language experts say it seems she and her boyfriend are in love. Who knows? You know, what I'd like to see is, and I think a lot of people are saying in here, I've seen it, like, that Sam's under Jamie's control too, or he was hired by them. Who knows? Who cares? Just let her be free of this, and then she can make that determination for herself. But the idea that average lifespan's like 80 years. You've now taken 13 of them. Let her live her life is my feeling. Is forcing her birth control not a human rights violation? I feel like it should be, but I don't think in this situation it is. Emily D. Baker on YouTube covers this too. And she has a good line. Just because it's not morally right doesn't mean it's not legally right. Legality does not equal morality. So we can feel like something is very wrong, but it can be legal. It's a super sad situation. And it's angering on a different level. Yeah, Emily D. Baker on YouTube. I'm sure she's going to cover this at some point. It's angering on a deep level. I just, in my own life, I've watched, my daughter's 9 years old. I've raised her up until this point, obviously. And I look at her and I just think it is impossible for me to try to do something like this to her. I just couldn't. I could not. I love her. I would always want her to have autonomy over her own life. And it's just deeply saddening to see that Britney's family, to some level, does not choose to have Britney's best interest, or they have allowed themselves to some extent to believe that what they're doing is in her best interest. And I think we could probably all agree that that's not necessarily true. Any final questions before I jump off? And is this something you guys want me to come back and talk about I assume since there's so many of you here, this would be helpful for you guys if you guys wanted to come back and talk about it. What are the limits of the conservatorship? Good question. I'll look at it and I'll try to, I tried to do like kind of a, yes. Okay. I tried to do like a 101, so I'll do some further stuff on that. I don't know why her mom, a lot of people are asking about her mom. I have no clue. You guys are very sweet just for sending me stuff. I appreciate it. I don't know why her mom wasn't involved. It feels like a good question. And I don't know that we'll ever know the answer, but I will rewatch the documentaries on this to see if I can find the answer for you, or at least give you more context on what I think may have happened. It may be, honestly, it may just be that her mom didn't think that she needed it. And then the person who wanted control stepped up and was like, well, screw that. I'll take it. You're not going to do it. I will. You never know. You know what I mean? It's, how much proof, preponderance of the evidence. So just an ever so tipping of the scales. Just an ever so 51 to 49%. I'll tell you guys, I'll post this on YouTube, Heather the Lawyer on YouTube. There's not a lot over there, so don't get excited. And then if you do have any specific questions on this that you want me to ask, that you want me to answer, DM me on Instagram, because TikTok DMs are bizarre. They don't work half the time. So I just turn them off. So if you want me to answer a specific question, DM me on Instagram, and I will repost this on YouTube. Thank you all for showing up and putting this kind of interest into the legal system, and hopefully we can all see an outcome on this that is in the best interests of Britney and the future of the female species. Thank you guys.